What's going on, my friends? This is Dave Sharpe. Welcome to Wake Up Legendary. And that means that it's time to wake up, even if you've already been woke here for a couple of hours. If you're catching this maybe in Europe or even Asia, it's time to re-wake up, baby, because we've got yet another fantastic guest. Elias is going to be coming on, and he's going to share with us from the great state of Iowa. Any Iowans? I don't know if I'll have to confirm with him here in just a moment. Any other Iowans on the call? Huh? All right, we'll see. Elias, my brother, welcome to the call.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, Iowans, right?
Is that the right way to call you guys?
That is.
All right, man. All right. Well, they call us Floridians down here in Florida. I read on your questionnaire that you answered you may have a desire as you acquire more freedom to move to a warmer state. Is that right?
Absolutely. One of the big reasons why, obviously online businesses is, Iowa sucks. The Midwest sucks. We get like two good months of weather. Everything else is either super cold or super hot. We never get
Iowa sucks.
It's terrible. And I'm sure there's people who love the cold, and I mean, God bless them, but everyone else, I don't know how we deal with it. And I've been here for 20 plus years already, and it's terrible.
Are you were you not born in Iowa?
No, I was originally born in Salt Lake City, in Utah. And then my dad migrated here, due to work, and then we've been stuck here since I've been like 5 years old. So it's been 20 plus years now.
Stuck here, my man. Stuck in the snow. Stuck in the snow. Well, I love your mission for why you're doing what you're doing, which is to kind of define that. To talk to us about. We created the headline that says, father of two breaking generational cycle to provide a better life for his family. Tell us what that means for you.
Right, and that's going back to what we're talking about, being stuck in Iowa. So my dad came here when we were 20 plus years ago. And he did it just because his job, it was job placed here. And then we're also in the same cycle, right? We got out of the school, we started a job, and now we're essentially stuck here because we think we have a good job. We think we have a good corporate job or whatever, because we're stuck in this one place because of our family and our workplace. That's a big cycle that we keep going. And then what's going to happen next cycle, once my kids grow up, they're going to have the same thing. Hey, they're going to grow up here in Iowa and they're going to get a good job here and they're going to feel stuck here. Because they think nowhere else. I mean, you can definitely get another job somewhere else, but it's you have to step out of that comfort zone to do that. And what we're doing, or what I always been doing before, is staying in our bubble and never wanting to move out because the discomfort of getting a new job, discomfort of starting something new, it's not within that cycle. And that's what I'm doing. I'm breaking that cycle because I want to get out of my 9 to 5. I want to get out of Iowa. I want to get out of the Midwest. I want my kids to enjoy the outdoors, not 24/7, but almost all year, rather than just enjoying it, 3-4 months out of the year, and the rest, they're either bundled up or inside because it's way too hot outside.
So let me ask you a question. Was your father born in Salt Lake City, or were they born in America?
No, so that's another big part, right? My father was born in Mexico. Mm-hmm. He came here from the age of 15. Mm-hmm. He has 15 brothers and sisters. He came over here to support them at 15. He started working. He originally went to California, landed there. He went into the tire business, the used tire business. And he's been doing that since he was like 15, 16 years old. So he traveled to, he moved on to Utah to do the same thing. Okay. And then he moved on to Iowa to do the same thing. Like I said, he's been in the same business for 40 years now.
Here's why I ask. Isn't moving somewhere and getting a good job and having 2.5 kids and having a dog and a white picket fence, even if it's not the ideal place in the country, though, isn't that the American dream? Or at least wasn't that the American dream for your father? And why do you think you are looking at life now differently?
Right, and that's what we always thought, right? The American dream is just get a good job, essentially enough to pay the bills and have a white picket fence, have a dog and a couple kids, and get married, right? And that's what I always thought too. I always thought, hey, we have to have our 9 to 5, We have to have our dog. We have to have a couple kids and get married, and that's and be stuck somewhere, right? That's essentially the American dream that we were sold at, or we were told since we were little.
Mhm.
Now, once I essentially opened myself up to the online world and how more free you can become, that's completely changed to me, right? The American dream is doing something you want to be, or being somewhere you want to be at, and doing something at whatever time you're at. If it's time with your kids, time with your family or your friends, whatever it is, that to me is more of an American dream than being stuck at a wherever place, right? Somewhere like cold or somewhere hot or wherever it is, and being stuck and just having that, because that's just the part of the cycle, right? The American dream, that you need to get a good job wherever it is, right? It can be in the coldest spot in America, but it's a good job and you're stuck there, right? Because you think it's a good job, you think that's the only option you have,
right? And that's why I thought the question was really interesting to ask you, coming from a second. I think you'd be considered a second generation. Is he first generation?
First generation.
First generation. Okay, so immigrant from Mexico. Your father coming over, and he's still alive, right? So I mean, right. So you still have a chance to even talk to him. You grew up around him, and it's interesting how, I don't know, I just find that that's really interesting how in one generation, because of what you've discovered and uncovered and been exposed to now, your interpretation of the American dream is completely different. And from what I'm hearing you say, it's less about security. It's less about having a job and making that the priority. Like, wherever we got to go, whatever we got to do, we just need to have a job, no matter if we're a number, no matter how they treat us. It's just about really having that secure stream of income. So that opportunity, what I hear you saying is that is no longer your priority. What your priority is to be able to have more time freedom, the ability to be able to move around and do more with your kids and your family when you want to do it, and just have more control over your overall life. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's absolutely correct, right? Time is valuable. It's priceless. We can't get time back. And I learned that the hard way, right? I have two boys. One is 6 years old and one is one. Mm-hmm. So I know I used to work 10, 12-hour days just to make ends meet. And at that point, I'm missing a big part of my kid's childhood, and we can't get that time back, guys. We can't get that time back. And it's what I express a lot to to people who I talk to on lives or wherever it is on messages, is time is so valuable. And I explain that too in the point when they're thinking about, investing in themselves or going through a training, right? Going through the 15-day challenge. Is, I'm a big believer you can do anything, where you can go to YouTube and do whatever you want for free, right? But how valuable is your time? You can spend years trying to go on YouTube and learning, but how valuable is your time? You can take a 15-day challenge and learn a lot faster and save you so much time. Because to me, time is the most important thing about it, right? So that's the reason I'm stepping out of my comfort zone to do what I'm doing. And that's why I try to, push on someone else is, hey, especially if you have family, and, if you have family, you have kids, you have very limited time. So you want to make sure you choose your time wisely, especially when looking into a training. The time you save is so important, and it's important to me that it's valuable, so valuable to me at this point.
So talk to us a little bit about you being exposed here to Legendary, because this was your very first online venture, from what I understand. And for many years, you were skeptical about making money online or having your own business and what was possible, because I would assume you were still kind of you had the mindset of, I am living the American dream. I do have a job. I do have a couple of kids. I am in corporate America. I think you're a loan officer. Is that right?
Right. Yeah, I'm a underwriter. So yeah.
Okay, in the mortgage industry. Yeah. Right. Yep. So talk to us about how you kind of found us, and how, as you've gone through our training and now met new people and been exposed to a different conversation. Talk us through just what that process has been like, because it's actually been a pretty short period of time. If I'm correct, the timeline is when is basically July of 2020 was when you kind of started, and then but you oh wait, you kind of came online July of 2020, but you didn't do anything or didn't have the tools to be able to get started, the clarity. And after failing miserably, you said you came across Legendary in March of 2021. So talk to us about what happened from that July 20th until March of 2021. Were you doing that kind of YouTube endless black hole shiny object syndrome, that kind of stuff?
Right. Yeah. So like a lot of people is I came, I was like, I gotta change my life. I gotta do so. I gotta take action. Right. We gotta take action and do something. So I started
And that was
looking
in the middle of the pandemic, right? So you were kind of like millions of other people who are kind of like, oh crap, life isn't as secure as I thought it was.
Right. A lot of, unfortunately, a lot of bad things happen, but also, we made us think about, what other things we can do. And the same to me, I started searching online. I was going to TikTok, whatever it is, right? I started, I looked at Amazon FBA, I looked at drop shipping, and then I was just looking through, and I came through, affiliate marketing. So I went through and like everyone else, hi, I can do this for free. I thought I was a smart guy. I can do this for free. I can do it on YouTube. I'm gonna try a couple of things. So what I did is I went through YouTube. I even started a blog and stuff like that. And I learned a lot of things about blogging. I learned a lot about like SEO and stuff like that. But in that time period into like March of 2021, I really wasn't successful. I would just, I would make commissions, but I would not see profit from the expenses I had. So I was scrolling through TikTok like a million of other people. I came through Legendary. I like, all right, man, $7. Can't go wrong with $7. So I took the challenge. Went through it. I had the mindset though. I was like, I know affiliate marketing will work. I've done my research. I know it's legit. I know it's very, very profitable and amazing business model. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take this challenge. I'm gonna put 120% into it. I'm gonna learn. I'm gonna implement. That's what really changed it, right? Is the mindset that I had. I took the challenge, invested in myself, and learned everything I possibly could, and then just went from there, right?
Yeah, yeah. So it was a shift. I mean, just of like, look, I'm now, and I'm assuming this is what you thought. I'm going to give myself the benefit of the doubt. I'm in the right place. I'm getting the right information from the right people in the right environment, because you then were now in Legendary, exposed to all of these other people who are in our community, who are having success and getting results, and you're now seeing them, and you're in your right information, right people, right? I mean, we may not. I mean, if you ask us to teach you to or fix your car, or teach you how to cook dinner or whatever, we are not your guys and gals. But when it comes to building businesses online, hey, we know what we're talking about. So in right environment, so you kind of realized it's me. It's on me. If I'm going to make this work at this point, it's not like I've got the right information, right people, right environment, but another level of personal responsibility from what I hear you're saying, what you saying, kind of kicked in. Is that right?
Right. Because when I first started the challenge, I knew this was an amazing challenge. You're an amazing guy, down to earth. And it really hit me, right? This training, this challenge is so good, but obviously it's at the end of the day, it's up to me. I can take millions of trainings or whatever it is, but if I don't take action, if I don't implement what I'm learning, it's not going to make any difference, right? I can go through 100 courses, like I said, and learn a lot of things, but I need to actually take action. And I express this to a lot of people, right? I talk to a lot of people that, hey, the most important thing is yourself. The only person that's stopping you from achieving anything is yourself. Mm-hmm. There's no other obstacles there, right? Once you learn it, if you're not implementing, you're never gonna get results. You're never gonna actually change your situation. And that's what I express to my big, my big thing, my TikToks, wherever my social medias, is changing your guys' mindset and changing how you think and changing your situation, right? But you can't change anything if you never take action. And there's no other obstacle out there but yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's kind of a little bit of a, I mean, this is a phrase, cover your kids' ears, but it's a bit of a mind fuck, right? Because it's like my mindset needs to change. So that means that I change my mindset first, and then I'm going to have the ability to take the action that I need, but it doesn't quite work like that. I was taught when I was getting clean from drugs, right? Over 10 years ago in 2008, this was when I learned this lesson that you can't think yourself into a new way of acting. You have to act yourself into a new way of thinking.
Right.
And your mind will follow your actions. Your actions, it's not the other way around. And so, building new habits is not about sitting there and saying, I'm going to go to the gym for the next 30 days. I'm going to go to the gym for it's getting out. Whether you got to have accountability, whether you got to have a trainer, whether you got to declare publicly on Facebook, I'm going to do this, right? You post your before pictures, you put all these pieces in place so you're accountable, and then you get up and you go. And then after 30 days, all of a sudden it's like, holy crap, I can do this. Like look what I've just done over the past 30 days. So I think that's a bit of a difficult thing for a lot of people, including myself. When I first heard it, was I can't think myself into a new way of acting. I can't sit around and go, I got a 6-pack abs. I got a 6-pack abs. I got a 6-pack abs, right? I have to act myself into a new way of thinking. So how have you, over the course since March, I mean, it's literally been 3 months or so since you've really been kicking ass and taking aims. And obviously you've gotten results. We wouldn't have you on the show unless you have gotten results. But more importantly, how have you built more confidence? I mean, you're sitting here clearly, you're sharing lessons, you're telling, I tell my audience, etc. Within 3 short months, you've gone from basically a year of, quote, in your words, failure, to now growing an audience, making money, big dreams. You're a guest on this show. How have you talked to us about kind of, what I just said, the acting yourself into a new way of thinking, and how that's affected your mindset and how you're a different person in just 3 months?
Right. So the first thing is you got to think deep down is why you're doing this. What's your why? And everyone else is here. Comment down below. What's your why? What's your why? That's really the deep down of it. For me, and I explain this. My why is my kids, my family. My why is the big reason why I started doing this, stepping out of my comfort zone, is I would have talks with my wife, and she's not struggling, but she's worried about how are we gonna pay the next month's bills, or how she's having like anxiety or stressed out about it. I was like, me as a man, that killed me. At the end of the day, I'm seeing my wife, being stressed about this, where I have absolutely every control of it. I have absolutely every control of it. So when I'm thinking, when I'm showing up, when I'm taking action, and some days suck. Some days are terrible. Some days you just don't want to show up, right? Same thing if you go to the gym, right? Some days may be the hardest days, and you don't have the energy, you don't have the, whatever it is, right? You got to think of your why. You got to think of your why. Deep down is, my kids and my family. My why is I want to change the cycle, right? I'm building habits, because what happens with habits? Habits are shown to your kids, and your kids will replicate what your habits are. If we're struggling to pay our bills, or we're just doing a 9 to 5 and struggling to pay our bills and being stressed out, what's going to happen in the next cycle? Our kids are most likely going to be doing the same thing. They're going to be struggling. They're barely going to be paying bills, because that's how it's going to it's going to be the habits that they shown from you. We can say a million things, but if we're not taking action, we're not building habits, and are showing our kids those habits, our kids are just going to do the same things that we're doing, because they learn from what we do. And that's my biggest thing. I'm taking action. I'm building every day I show up, because I'm building the habits to be able to show my children the same thing, right? When they when they grow up, when they're 18, 20, wherever the age, right?
Yeah.
They're going to think back as like, my dad showed up every day to his, his business, and worked hard and made it successful.
Yeah. And I can tell from listening to you that is your motivation. I mean, there's no doubt about that. You've reiterated that over and over again, and it's powerful. I can tell that it's something that you've internalized, and it's pushing you to take action. That I think there's such a big disconnect between us wanting better things for our kids, wanting, wishing, right? Even envisioning, right? A better life, but really truly internalizing something. And I really feel like, man, it is a switch that just gets turned on. Like, because I got the same switch. There's been a couple of switches that have turned on for me in my career here since I found entrepreneurship and online marketing. I mean, the first one was really like just this desire to just be more. I was struggling with drug addiction and kind of dereliction and homelessness even at a certain point in from about my late teens and early 20s. And I just wanted to be more. I wanted to do more with me. I wanted to turn my mess into a message. I didn't want all my struggle to be in vain. And as I've gotten more mature, my wife and I have had a couple of more kids. I've got 3 total now. And, I have that same internalized in my DNA. It was just a switch that was flipped. I mean, as a matter of fact, the other day, Elias, I looked at my son who's 5 months old. And obviously I have an insane drive to take care of him. Right? But I looked at him and I had this thought. I said, he did not ask to come into this world.
Right.
He did not ask to be here. And as much as I hope he has a joyful life and I hope he's happy to be here, he didn't ask to be here. My wife and I made a decision to have children, to build a family. And when that hit me just different the other day, because I thought to myself, holy shit, man. It's like, my kids didn't ask for this, man. My kids didn't ask for this life. They didn't ask to be here. And how, dare I put responsibility on them, especially at an early age I don't know, it just hit me different, man. And I just kind of had another switch was flipped, right? To where I was like, it really is my responsibility to not only, as you're saying, make money. That's just one thing, but it's about also building good habits, not having stress in the house and having to put them through traumatic things because of financial issues or because I'm not taking care of myself. Right. And I believe how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if I'm not really doing much in my job or my career, there's a good chance I'm going to be slacking in other areas of my life as well.
Right.
So I don't know. I just, that switch was flipped for me the other day, and I already had a lot of motivation and drive. But what would you say to people who are maybe not in the same place that you are with kids or whatever, and they're having a hard time finding their why? They're kind of asking themselves, well, I feel maybe burnt out, or I've already raised kids, and now I'm kind of struggling to find what my why is so I can have that real motivation. I mean, just what would you say off the cuff to somebody who might be thinking that as they're listening to us?
Yeah. So I'm a big believer we all have whys, but just can't find it, right? Money isn't a why. Money is helping, your why, but it's not the main why you have. A lot of people are, if you can't find your why, just sit down one day. Just sit down in a dark spot, wherever. Sit down in your bed and just think about it. Think about all the struggles. What's making you stressed out? What's making you, stay up at night? What's making you not be able to sleep? Think about those reasons, and that's your why. Whatever it is. Maybe you couldn't go on that vacation. Maybe you couldn't move, or maybe you didn't get that promotion because whatever reason, right, at your job, or maybe you couldn't give that awesome present you wanted to your grandkids, or wherever it is, right? You got to think deep down, because the issue is, what I see with a lot of people is they don't want to take action because they're stuck in their bubble, and they're afraid, right? They're afraid to pop that bubble and get out of it. You have to think about the why. and it can be something small at the very beginning, right? Something small, but
Yeah.
once you start getting burnt out, like you say, Dave, once you start getting burnt out, you have to actually sit down and think, what's my biggest why? What's my biggest thing? Is it to better myself, or is it better the people around me, right?
I like how you alluded to it doesn't have to be your first why, doesn't kind of have to be your next why.
Well,
I believe our whys can change. Like for a lot of people, maybe your why is just that you want to, maybe you're an empty nester, like maybe your kids just left for college or something, and you want to regain some of your own personal identity now in this next chapter of your life. Maybe it's that. I mean, that actually kind of is a pretty big thing, right? But maybe it's just that you want to just do something for yourself. You want some excitement in your life. I mean, it doesn't always have to be that it's this big thing that I think your why is pretty big. I mean, I think you've got like a 30,000 foot kind of like, you're looking at your life, you're looking at freaking generations past and forward, and you're thinking, I want to be a change maker. But guys and gals listening, I think that any why is just as important as any other person's why. I think that if you just want to get better at technology, if you just want to learn more about social media and the internet in 2021, if you want to just get better on the computer, like I know people who their why might be, I want to become a better typer. And I know that if a faster typer, I've got a dirty little secret. After over 10 years of doing this, I still can't look at the screen and type. I got to hunt and freaking peck, dude, which is insane because I've written tons of copy, tons of sales letters, but that's ultimately one day that may be my why, is that I want to be proficient at writing quickly and just being able to type without looking at the keyboard. So I think there's an element of comparisonitis that people may think when they hear us talking about our whys, and they think my why has to look like your why. So I want you to touch on the comparisonitis just as a general thing. We come online, we start seeing other people, and it's human nature, guys. There's nothing wrong with you if you're comparing yourself to other people. However, in this business, it can be crippling. Right. So what would you say to people who are dealing with comparisonitis, comparing their whys to your why, comparing their videos to your videos, comparing that, right? Just people who generally are having a hard time overcoming that piece.
Yeah, and I watch these shows almost every day, and I know you did a show a couple of days ago with James. And he stated that, and I love how he stated it, is don't compare your step 1 with someone's step 20 or step 30. That's the big thing about it. I'm guilty of this as well, right? I see, especially with TikTok. Obviously, TikTok is you see videos blow up and people get it viral, and it's crazy, and you start thinking, oh man, why can't my videos go like that?
Sure, it's a natural reaction to do that.
Right.
It's not that we're wrong or something's wrong with us when we do that. It's just, right, there's a difference between having that thought and staying in that thought.
Right. You just gotta a big thing for me is when I think about that, I absolutely just switch the switch. I'm like, hey, congrats to that person, and but let me see what they did right. Let me see what they're doing right. And let me replicate, and let me see if I can, replicate what they're doing, their success, and go from there. Learn from what the people are doing right. Don't compare yourself with them. Just replicate and learn from what they're doing right. Take their tips and stuff and their tricks and do it yourself. Put yourself in that path for success rather than just pushing yourself down. Right? Don't push yourself down to that hole and start comparing, oh, this person did a lot better than me, or this, this person's making a lot more than me, wherever it is, right? Or just the same with the why, right? You may have a small why. One of my first whys was like, I want to step out of my comfort zone and start making friends, right? Start making friends online.
Yeah, man.
That was a small why of mine. And you can't compare your hey, making friends online. You can't compare your small why with, possibly like yours, Dave's, or mine. You just got to think, why. Think about the message, really. What's the core of it? We're all wanting to reach the same goal, and think of that. Don't push yourself down to the hole, and just think about the successes. Think about what they're doing right, and help yourself get pushed forward and start going right.
Well, I think there's a big kind of it takes the best version of who you are, right? To really be happy for somebody while not cutting yourself down, because I think the smallest version of me is when I look at people and I'm jealous, or I look at people and, even worse, I start to shame and guilt myself for not being as good, right? That's kind of, when I say big and small, I mean, that's kind of like not the best. That's not the best version of who Dave Sharpe is. The best version of Dave Sharpe, who I strive to be every day, I fall short, but is to truly have an abundance mindset, to truly have like legit happiness when I see people succeeding. Like if somebody attacks me, man, which I've had happen thousands of times over a decade, somebody attacks me, somebody literally might even wish ill will on me, right? Like want something bad to happen to me. Like, for me to like really look at somebody and just be like, hey man, that's just where they're at. Like, or if somebody's succeeding and I've been trying the same thing for a long time and I haven't made it quite to that level, to literally just look at that person and be inspired by their success and not be threatened by it, or not, which I think is the most dangerous, begin to cut myself down. Right. I have a saying that self-esteem is the bedrock of success. And I really believe that. Ever since I've been saying that, that's never wavered. It's not intelligence is the bedrock of success. It's not good looks. It's not, anything, man. It's not even skills. It's not even skills, although skills are mandatory, right? It's self-esteem. So if there's any way that I'm operating, and this might be a why that I would invite all of you to either add on to your why, or to maybe make it your why, if you need somebody to help with ideas, is to build your self-esteem, is to use this business as a challenge, as a sort of like a training grounds for you to build your self-esteem. Because this business is like New York City. Remember how they used to say, or maybe they still do, that if you can survive in New York, you can survive anywhere. I believe, man, in 2021, if you can build a business online, like if you can do affiliate marketing, if you can do what we teach, if you can follow through with it, it doesn't matter how successful you are. If you can just, running a business is about staying open. That's what running a business is about. A successful business, the number one determining factor that defines a successful business is that the doors stay open. Not that it makes $1 billion, $1 million, 6 figures, 5 figures, 1,000, 100, not even that it turns a profit. There's many businesses that don't turn a profit for years, but they've kept the doors open and they've set themselves up for future success, right? Because they're laying a foundation. But what if through that process of you keeping the doors open and building the foundation for your future, that you practice building your self-esteem? And I'm talking to each one of you who are listening, that you build your self-esteem. And what that examples of that would be developing an abundant mindset. When I see somebody who's succeeding more than I am, or who seems to got lucky, or whatever, however I want to interpret it, that I'm happy for them. Right. And even if I'm in how do I be happy for them? Well, one of the things that I was suggested when I learned this in recovery, actually, 12-step recovery, that if I had a resentment against somebody, one of the best things I could do was pray for that person. Now, prayer, however it looks to you, maybe it looks different to you than it looks to somebody else, but pray for that person. Right. Now, that's a hard thing to do if you really don't like somebody. But if I'm looking at somebody, right now, here's the suggestion. Here's the hit. So listen, if I see somebody online and I start comparing myself in some jealousy, some envy, or I start shaming or blaming myself, saying I'm not good enough, instead I stop and I say a little prayer for that person. God, hey, man, God bless that person, their success, their family. Proud of that person. Like, that's inspiring. I hope they continue to crush it. And me, like, I hope that I can learn something in this moment, right? That would be like a little way for me to readjust. Now, if you're an atheist and you're listening to this, then you can alter that. But you get the point. I'm saying I'm sending a little affirmation or a little prayer for that person. And what I'm doing is I'm redirecting those thoughts of either jealousy or shame, and I'm transforming that energy into something that's powerful. And I'm anchoring that in that moment with a prayer or an affirmation. What comes up for you when I walk through that, Elias?
Yeah, and we go back to what we talked about, that switch, right? Once you switch that switch, it's going to change your life. Once you start seeing people not as competitors, but as friends, as a community, and as someone you can learn from, you can start saying that prayer. Start saying, "Hey, congratulate them for the success they have, and hope for better success for them as well." But once, like I said, once that switches, it's going to change your world.
Yeah.
It's going to change how you think. It's going to change your mindset. It's going to change your self-esteem. Not only are you not going to push yourself down, but you're going to right away, you're going to start thinking, hey, I'm absolutely grateful for, that person getting that success, for that person being, where they're at in their journey. But, now what can I do? What can I do to get to that level? What can I do to surpass them?
That's where it kicks in, is first, right? My thoughts follow my actions, because that little prayer, that little affirmation to that person and to me is an action. That's an action, man. I'm intercepting a thought, and I'm doing something. I'm saying a little prayer. Maybe whenever I have that, maybe I put my hands together. Maybe I stand up. Maybe every time I have one of those thoughts, right? Maybe I get up and I walk around the block one time and I say those prayers while I'm walking, right? So we're anchoring action, and then eventually our thoughts will follow. And like you said, the next step after that begins to be second nature, that when I see somebody succeeding, I no longer feel resentment or jealousy or shame, but instead I feel happy for that person and proud. The next is curious. What can I learn? Right? That's like the next thing that happens is once that resentment and that jealousy or that shame no longer kicks in, you create space now to look at people who are maybe at a different level. And now there's space for you to learn, to have a different thought, to think, wow, inspired by him or her. What can I learn? Right. And that's where it gets fun. And that's where the results start kicking in. Is that what you're finding as well?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I said, once I was able to switch that switch, it changed. It changed for me. Like, there's no competitors here. We're all here to reach our journey, to reach our goals, to reach that finish line on our race. And if we can encourage them, we can say a little prayer for them. Awesome. And then do what you can to learn from it. If you're not learning every day, especially with TikTok, if you're scrolling through TikTok, and if you're scrolling through TikTok, and if you see one viral video, if you're not learning from it, then you gotta change it up. You gotta learn from everything that's going on TikTok, on any social media, right? On anything that you're doing, on email marketing, whatever it is. If you're not learning something new, a new trick or new ways to doing it every day, then maybe you need to rethink your mindset and change your self-esteem, saying, hey, what can I learn? Because we don't know it all. We're not, we think we're experts, but we don't. And every day we should be learning. Every day we can learn something new or new. The world's changing, especially the online world. Online world changes every day, every hour. So once we were able to change it, once we're able to go with the curve, right? Go with the learning curve, that's absolutely going to change everything.
Well, brother, I am really happy for you, proud of you. Your family is blessed and lucky to have you, and I know you feel the same way about them. We all know that from what you've shared with us. So I hope you'll just keep coming back and keeping us updated and building, growing, so we can keep learning from you and your your achievements, your discoveries, and I'm so happy and proud of you for what you've accomplished in a short period of time. Just really, more than anything, really getting clear on what your why is. And brother, that's going to take you to the moon, because it's clear that your why is deeply embedded in your DNA. And with such conviction about what you're doing and belief about what you're doing and your mission, there's nothing that's going to stop you or get in your way, man. So be legendary, my brother. Keep up the great work, great show. You can be proud of yourself for this moment as well. And we'll talk to you soon. Okay, man.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. Have a wonderful day, everyone.
All right, Elias. See you, buddy.
See ya.
Well, guys, that really was really a powerful chat about how to give yourself a gift that will keep on giving for the rest of your life, which is that mental shift from lack and fear and shame into abundance and esteem and positivity and creativity and creation. It really, really is a gift that from Elias coming here and having that just as big of a why as he has, that just came to the surface. It, as with every show, nothing is planned. We don't know what we're going to talk about, but that was really a divine conversation. And if you guys take that and run with it, maybe re-listen to it one more time and really internalize it and put it into practice immediately, it will change your life. I can say that without a shadow of a doubt. My friends, let's get busy. Big day. Finish the month strong. Be legendary. We'll see you back here tomorrow.